Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your man Akeem, and welcome to the Sports News Insider College Football Blog. Here to give you some of the latest news in the NCAA. ESPN held a blueprint for change, in which they had a panel of college analysts, coaches, and directors of the NCAA to come up with a strategic plan in changing the image in college football as well as the NCAA athletics. Now I want to talk about some of the key pointers that they talked about during this entire segment. Now one thing I would need to discuss is that Nick Saban, the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, came up with a big argument that in which I really disagree on. He said that the NCAA athletics is not a business; it's a revenue-producing system. That does not make any sense. This is pretty much a business, and it's really about money and collecting money for these schools and the NCAA. So let's put it this way: it's in the business of making revenue. We'll call it like that. It really is a business, and I think that Nick Saban was wrong to say this because these schools are making millions of dollars off of these kids. Now, Jay Billis came up with a good point. Jay Billis is a college basketball analyst. He came up with a good point about these student athletes. He says that these student athletes are very valuable. Now, some athletes are a little bit more valuable than others because they bring up more audiences for the schools and the NCAA and television networks. So some players, I believe that they should probably get paid just a little bit more than others. But Mark May came up with an argument and said that why should some players be paid more than others? Mainly because, like I said, they are more valuable. Now they did come up with some strategies and some ideas to come up with some changes in the NCAA and the student athletes. Now Mark Straghanis, he was the former Big East commissioner, and he came up with an idea of giving them a cost of attendance, which is pretty much a stipend in which they get the schools pay the students the cost of attendance, which is about a couple $1,000s. And I think that's a pretty good idea. It's a step forward. Now, I also believe, I mentioned in other videos, that if players get allowed to get money on the side from outsiders, if an outsider offers them a job or to do an assignment for money, I think that should be okay as well. But this is a step forward, giving them a cost of attendance and a stipend for these players. Now, a couple of other things that they talked about is the recruiting process. Now, I really think they came up with some great ideas. Kirk Herbstreit, the college football analyst, mentioned that there should be limit communication in recruiting, and plus these recruiting processes should be monitored from outsiders, maybe a third-party person. Now, you cannot stop third parties from talking to these student athletes and these recruits coming into the college athletics. Now, this is going to be very hard to stop these third-party activities. But in order for them to slow this down and stop violations from happening, I think that these recruiting process should be monitored from people outside of the NCAA, someone who's hired to monitor these recruitings. And I think that's a great idea. Also, for punishments, I think there should be the same punishments for coaches as well as students. Now, a lot of students have been getting suspended for games, multiple games, and I think that the coaches should be suspended just as well because they're the ones that are involved in the recruiting process as well. And also, they mentioned that they should have stronger punishments, yearly punishments, death penalty. An example, Miami Hurricanes, they're dealing with more allegations, and they're in a big heap of trouble dealing with allegations with Nevin Shapiro. He was a former booster for the Miami Hurricanes, in which he assisted them with benefits, with gifts, money, cars, and even rides in his personal yachts and parties and stuff like that. And that has violated NCAA rules, and the NCAA is investigating Miami. Now, for the past couple of decades, we have been seeing the U dealing with a lot of issues with allegations of them players getting paid, and I think they're going to end up dealing with the death penalty because they have been warned for years and years. Yes, they changed the way in college football, they brought more swag in college football, but they also caused a lot more trouble and a lot more problems in the college football at that, and I think that they might deal with the death penalty. The death penalty basically means they're going to be banned for a year or so for the entire football program, and I think they're probably going to end up dealing with that, but we will see. I'll keep you posted on that. But they came up with some great ideas in limiting the recruiting process, limiting communication, and giving more harsh punishments. I do agree with that. Now, they also talked about the postseason. I gave you an idea of having a playoff system, and a lot of people agree with me on that. But they came up with a pretty good plan as well. They think they should have a +1 system, meaning if a team is undefeated, I think there should be a +1 game in which they will play an opponent to get to that national championship game. Like Boise State and TCU for the past couple of seasons, they've been going to BCS bowl games and going undefeated as BCS champions, not national champions, but the BCS bowl champions for their bowl games. And I think that after we've been witnessing that, more teams are going to go undefeated during the regular season, and they came up with an idea of having a +1 system. Now, I really think they should have a 16-team playoff, but I gave you my ideas last week, and I think having the 16-team playoff will give everybody an equal opportunity to win the national championship. But this is a forward progress, getting a step closer in solving these problems in the NCAA, coming up with a +1 system. I do kind of like that, but I'm more with the 16-team playoff. But the +1 system, we are taking baby steps here, and it is a process, a step forward in helping solve these problems in the NCAA. I really think they should have a playoff in the postseason for college football, and they could still have the bowl games, but having a playoff system to give everybody an equal opportunity for that national title. Also, coming up with a stipend idea from Mike Strangenese. I think that was a great idea. At least a step forward, giving the players just a little bit of money so they can spend money on bills or whatever they want. Leisure time. Like I told you before, these players are not allowed to have jobs or make any money on the side. So that's pretty much of a good idea to give them a little something during the season just to cover up their expenses. And I think that was a great idea. Now, I'm going to keep you guys posted with some of the latest news in college football, and we are just 2 weeks away from opening game on Thursday, and I cannot wait. 2 weeks from Thursday. I cannot wait. We're just getting closer, and I'm going to keep you guys posted, give you my winners or losers week after week, and also the latest news in college football on the off the field. From Sports News Insider, I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.